Pilot with Precision Aerobatics and Hobbyking, and today we're going to do something really fun that a lot more pilots can do and master, and I'm going to teach you how to fly inverted. Now it sounds easy, but what's not easy for most pilots is getting the thing down low to the ground. My contention is it's actually very easy. One of the reasons is there's only one thing to remember, and that is push up on the elevator. But the problem is, once the plane is inverted, it is a little bit disorienting. So we want to get used to it. But we're going to go over how to flip it over, how to bring it down, how to control the inverted flight, and how to eventually become comfortable. I have friends of mine and people at this very field I'm sitting at that had a little trouble getting it down low. And this includes people like Steve King and others that, you know, would invert the plane and bring it down, always a little hesitant to bring it down really low. But with this advice, I've watched someone take a very expensive turbine jet from not being able to come any lower than 50, 80 feet inverted to being able to come right down to the deck. This technique will bring a lot of confidence, and I'll show it to you today. We're also going to take a look at a lot of cool things that you can do while inverted to add to your arsenal of aerobatic maneuvers. Okay, one quick little tip that I want to do before we even get up in the air is our first attempts at going inverted, we're going to be up high. And a little bit of hedging your bet against making the wrong maneuver is, I don't know if you pinch or you put your thumb on it, but what I'd like you to do is, as you're going to invert it, pull your fingers below the stick. This way there's only one way to go. That's in the correct direction. You can always grab it or release it if you are going back to normal flight. But for the most part, especially if you're low, if you're pushing this way, you're always safe. The first key to learning how to invert the aircraft, in my opinion, you should do it facing away from you. Go up at about a 45-degree angle and just rotate it. And don't do anything. Just watch what the plane is going to do. And just let it fly. This plane is very well balanced, so it's going to stay upright. Now, a lot of aircraft, high wings and so on and so forth, might dive towards the ground a little bit. But what I'm suggesting is that if you go up at a 45 or just anything like this and just simply roll the aircraft, watch what it does. And if it starts heading towards the ground, just gently push up. We have plenty of time. Just like every other maneuver we discuss, the big deal here is do not panic. You're up so high that nothing could possibly happen as long as your finger is below the stick and you push the stick upwards. So even if you go over and it just heads straight down, it doesn't matter. We have plenty of time. Just push a little bit and then it'll upright. Now, my other suggestion is when you start to fly inverted, my suggestion is to go like as soon as you get barely competent at it, my suggestion is to go to one side of the runway, left or right, and start up fairly high. Now roll the aircraft and don't panic and push on the bottom part of the stick. And just let the plane go straight. And all we're doing now is we're flying just right down the runway, inverted. Push up before you come out of it and add power, and then roll out. If you do exactly the same thing every time, that's what's going to get you comfortable. It's routine. The place where you invert it, the whole style in which you do this is all based on repetition and comfort. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the other end. We're going to roll it and catch it. And that's it. My fingers are on the underside of it. As it's coming a little bit lower, I'm making sure I know to push up. And as I'm coming out, I'm going to push up a little bit, roll it out. Okay, for all of you that have speedy planes or turbine jets or EDF jets or other planes, that look so cool when they're doing these nice inverted passes. This tip could just as well change your life. What we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to bring it down low. We're going to start up high, as high as you want. We're going to invert it. Now let it start coming down. Point it at the ground. You got plenty of time. And when it gets down to the level you want, just push on the elevator just a little bit and level it off. All right? Look how comfortable it is. Keep flying down the runway. We want to make sure we're doing the same thing every time. My suggestion is to do this 20 times, each time coming down a little bit lower. And even if the first time is insanely crazy high, it doesn't matter. Because ultimately, you will start to come down lower and be more comfortable lower. Like right now, look how high we are. I'm going to invert it and just let it come down. And now just start adjusting a little bit. Just like it's the bottom of a loop. See, I didn't even stay inverted level that long. It almost was like an arc, like the bottom of a loop. Now what we're going to eventually do is take that particular maneuver and have our start inversion just a little bit sooner, a little bit lower. See how much lower I am now? Very comfortable. Over, fingers on the bottom, and just push. And now if I want, I can just let it get as low as I want and just start pushing up just when it feels comfortable. If I'm nervous at this height, then I'm nervous at that height, then you just push up. Here's my friend Tom with a couple nice inverted passes with a turbine jet. You can see how he uses the exact same technique and how nice he comes down and sets it right up over the runway, and the pass looks beautiful. Conversely, if you really want to go low, I don't recommend starting it super low like this. Like if I roll it here, this seems to kind of take some chances that are unnecessary. So what I'm going to do is, if I want to get low, and I want to be low right at the beginning of the runway, I'm still going to invert it with a little bit of altitude. So there's my altitude, invert it. So now you can see I'm going to be down lower a lot sooner. And now we'll just do that nice, pretty low pass and watch our altitude. Now obviously when you get comfortable enough to bring it this low or lower, you know, you've got some flights and some passes under your belt, and you'll just go as low as you are comfortable with. I thought I should show this. This is some cool inverted stuff done with a high wing. This is a Tundra, a Grand Tundra by Hobbyking. It's a Doorfly product. But as you can see, even with a high wing, it still can fly inverted pretty well. I attempted to fly super slow, so if there's a lot of wing rock, it's only because I'm trying to pull off something a little special. But faster, it flies perfectly inverted. Is that low enough?
Yeah, it's about as low as you can go.
It's not quite as pretty as it was. Ready? We're accelerating. We're going to pull back. We're going to go over the top. Relax the throttle. And at this point, we're simply going to fly level in this configuration or push slightly on the elevator. This, instead of a half loop, was actually a half of a Cuban 8. As you can see me just pulling over the top, doing nothing but pushing the elevator a little bit. Here's another look at that half Cuban. Just pull back and then eventually just push on the elevator a little bit to keep it going straight or start trending up. Now we're going to show you a few cool ways to get the plane inverted. One of my favorite ways, especially on if we're going to do a slow pass, up like this, push it over the top in a half loop and get inverted. I think that's a really cool way to invert the aircraft, but again, it's a bit more advanced and you have to be a little bit more comfortable. We've got to go one step at a time. Another look at pushing over to inverted with an EDF. There's only one move to make, and that is one adjustment on the elevator. In this case, I just keep working it and working it to get it down lower and slower. My other favorite way to go inverted is to start a little bit on knife edge and just kind of, you can see I'm going to kind of roll to inverted as I get to the runway from a turn. That's also really effective, looks really nice. But ultimately, the inverted passes look a lot better if you start on one end of the runway. This is a way to go inverted, and also a great maneuver called an inverted harrier. We're just going to flip it. And we're going to just harrier in an inverted condition. So now this is just like an upright harrier, except I'm pushing a lot harder on the elevator. But again, it always looks beautiful. It's a great way to start to actually get into a hover. Some of the nice maneuvers that are done inverted are things like maybe an inverted flat turn. Look how nice this looks to have the plane just turning. It's flat. I'm just using the rudder. It's a very cool maneuver. A really nice variation of that, which I've used in my videos, is to fly directly at yourself inverted, and then at the last minute we're just going to inverted flat turn away. I think it's a really nice effective maneuver, and you can, surprisingly enough, you can go pretty tight with that maneuver and the plane stays nice and level. Of course, it depends on the airframe and you know, on how good a flying aircraft it is. And there's another maneuver. I have this little inverted snap flip. That again is a very risky maneuver that you have to have a lot of practice to do it. And if you're going to practice it, the best place to practice it is way up here. The best place to practice this maneuver is way up here. But the maneuver looks incredible when it's low to the ground. I mean, if it's not looking dangerous and risky enough with the plane, you know, like right like this, just above the ground, I just snap it and catch it right back where we had it. Now again, this maneuver is very advanced. I'm just trying to show you some options for cool things to do while you're inverted. All right, another maneuver I really love is to just take off and roll inverted. I've done this you know, hundreds of times on video. I like to do it in 2 points, but I'll show you just a nice smooth inverted takeoff. And once I go, I have the choice of staying low, which is really my favorite, or I can just push up because that is a bit safer. But you can see staying inverted looks really nice. And now we'll push up. Here's another maneuver I really love to enter an inverted pass, you know, and that is, you can call it an air elevator or parachute, but I just flip it up high and just fall inverted. And as you can see this plane, I'm going to move it around a little bit so it falls in front of me. But I've got a little bit of throttle on, full elevator, and look at it, it's just falling straight down. It's really beautiful when it works like this. There's literally only one input, that is push as hard as you can. And then you're just going to adjust the throttle. See, and it'll come straight down. There's very little throttle on. I'm only circling so I can bring it down exactly where I want it to fall. The more throttle I put, the slower it falls. Another thing that I think is really nice is maybe if you're hovering, to maybe leave the hover inverted. That always looks nice. I also like to roll out of knife edge inverted. So let me give you a quick for instance here. So I'm on knife edge. And when it comes time to get out of it, I'm going to roll inverted. See how nice that looks, as opposed to, you know, quick flipping out of it. So once you get comfortable inverted, there's just so much stuff that you can do. I exit almost all of my blenders and all that kind of stuff. I exit almost all of them inverted. See, it always comes out inverted. I guess finally, the only other maneuver that is really I love in my arsenal that's inverted is an inverted flat spin. And that is, you just, you know, just hit the rudder full, and we're just gonna spin it down inverted and catch it inverted. Truthfully, most of the time I am exiting a rolling harrier, I try and do it inverted as well, because it just seems a little more elegant and controlled. See, just stopping it inverted. It's even fun to enter it inverted. It's just the first maneuver is different when it comes to which rudder direction you start with. See, we're coming out inverted. I think that looks really nice. Watch how nice the hover looks standing up from inverted. I guess the last inverted maneuver I should show you would be, I mean, you can technically land it sort of inverted. We're going to bring it down looking like we're going to land. And as we're coming in, and as the plane's getting close, we flip it over and land it. Just make sure we have enough space. But this is kind of an inverted death dive too, so it's straight down, straight across. And again, just come as low as you're comfortable. But anyway, that's about the end of my inverted maneuvers, but I think you'll find that they're a lot easier to do than you might think. Just need a little confidence. Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, team pilot with Hobbyking. Oh, never mind, I gotta change tracks. Michael Wargo, team pilot with Hobbyking, and this is the Sky Sword.